Hasn't been. The markets have been fairly stable all morning long, and it has been. We were thinking that there might be some fireworks with regard to maybe policy shifts and announcements, how these guys would go after them on regulatory fronts, everything like that. There hasn't been a lot of movement on the bank stocks, and maybe not surprising. This is not the forum with which you would like to see some of those types of policies really manifest themselves. But still, we did see some interesting comments with regard to CEO pay versus the average worker and everything else. It brings out talking points for politicians, but maybe not a lot for Wall Street just yet.
Mike, I'm hard-pressed to find anything that's going to come of this. Part of it, I think, is to see if the CEOs can hold the stage up there. We've seen plenty of people make this trip to Capitol Hill and not keep their job afterwards, going back to John Stump, arguably even Tim Sloan. And so the personalities are on display as much as the policies are. What do you think comes of this?
I think, well, first of all, it reflects the fact that as institutions, they're still playing defense in this long game. And I think that they've oriented their companies that way. And so that's why I think that the CEOs that are there, first of all, with the exception of Jamie Dimon, were not there during the financial crisis. And I also think that the relatively unfocused set of issues that are being thrown at them also lowers the stakes in terms of what it means for their business. So I think the good news is the bank stocks aren't reacting. The bad news is because they were already so cheap and their valuations don't really build in a lot of great news along deregulation or anything else.
No, that's a great point. Wilfred Frost has been down in Washington covering these hearings and listening in. Wilf, as we've been discussing, a lot of moments of personal drama, a lot of issues sort of much more political than having to do with the business models of the banks, although cybersecurity did come up quite a lot. Again, do you see any policy takeaways that are going to come from today's event?
I think, Kelly, you're exactly right to say cybersecurity is really the only issue that has united both sides of the political aisle in this debate, which is a big difference from the Wells Fargo hearing, for example, last month, where Republicans and Democrats were united, and that increases the chance, therefore, of some kind of policy to come out of it. Of course, just add to the fact that we've got a Republican president who's favoring deregulation rather than increased regulation, further reduces that policy likelihood. And in fact, we've got an example of exactly that on the topic of whether banks should be big or shouldn't be big. And the chair, Democrat Maxine Waters, was asking towards the start of the hearing about whether a smaller bank leads to an easier to manage one.
I have a foreign leader waiting in my office at 5:30. Okay, I agreed to stay longer. It will be embarrassing if I keep this person waiting for a long period of time.
That is Secretary Mnuchin.